Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks, Tim, and the Australian Hemp Council and the organising committee for giving us an opportunity to tell you a little bit about our story. Peter Rigetti and myself are going to share our journey in hemp from where we started all the way through to our fibre processing, but I won't steal too much of Peter's thunder. We're going to talk a bit about Hepburn Hemp, which is where we started, and we're going to take the opportunity today to introduce you to our new processing company. We decided that it might be of interest to talk a little bit about our 2023 harvest, and we've got a short video clip to show everyone, and we're just going to conclude a little bit about where we're heading. Where's that? Oh, thank you, Peter. You just flick to the next one. Let's talk a little bit about Hepburn Hemp, which is where we started. We work very closely with a lot of breeders, both here locally and overseas, and we're a lot about. We've been running a lot of trials. We've participated in a lot of trials, and all that's all been about trying to work out what variety is going to work well where, and so that when we go to our growers, we can be confident. And one of the things that we've always said, if we can't grow it, we don't expect you to. So we do a bit of growing ourselves. We work with a very network of growers, which is they do all our broad acre growing. We do a little bit ourselves, and ultimately we're producing and processing primary products, and one day value adding to those primary products. We were founded in 2019. As I said, we're very interested in the R&D side of things. We also have been working overseas with a lot of partnership and collaboration, everything from seed through to equipment. And we're quite excited about some of the things that are in the pipeline for us. Next one, thank you. Peter.
Thanks, John. So my name is Peter Rigetti. So a bit about us. My journey with industrial hemp actually started back on the cannabis side. So I was the co-founder of a company called Fibre, originally Kronos Australia. So Fibre is the largest medicinal cannabis company in Australia today. We listed on the ASX back in 2019, and I'm now a shareholder in that company. No longer on the board. But from that, though, John and myself and Lyndon started our journey looking at coming to understand industrial hemp. At the time, we thought that hemp has got a bigger future than a regulated medicine, and we became fascinated and interested in the plant, and we travelled fairly widely in North America, and we do that regularly. So our backgrounds are myself, so my key background here, as I said, prior to that in construction and engineering. So my interest in the material also has a reference to really a practical use, especially when I look at insulation, when I look at bio-concrete, when I look at substitutes for forestry and mining products. So I'm really well complemented here with my co-founders. So John's got a petrochemical manufacturing background. He's a chemist by trade, and he's also highly skilled in management and consulting, so he's a boffin and he's good at numbers, so that's good. And Lyndon, he's a chemical engineer as well. He's got substantial manufacturing and process experience, spent most of his career in big factories and doing engineering for large production lines. And he himself is the owner and developer of nanotechnology, which is obviously a very big business and has certain crossovers with what we're doing here. So we all know the things that hemp can do. It can be clothing, it can be textiles, it can be masonry, it can be bioplastics. We all know about the future. And it's going to be one of those things, the industry will be an overnight success, but 20 years in the making when it happens, and I don't think we're far away. But there's a problem. It's a problem here. Particular problem here, it's a problem which is starting to unravel in North America, is that if you're going to be an investor, you want to know what the end point is. So one of the biggest limitations is you can't get a reliable supply chain. You can't get a reliable supplier. Really, we're still a cottage industry, and if you want to start an animal bedding line or you want to start a plastics line, you need a regular supplier who can, or a textile line, who can manufacture to your specification and give you the tonnes you need every year so you can make your commitments. So this is how we see the problem then. You've got a lack of growers, which we're talking about always, but they will follow. We think if there are people who want to buy it, we are trying to develop, and Stu Gordon will talk a lot about this, objective standards for manufacturing, and David also touched on that earlier on. That's all ironing itself out now. And of course, we don't have processing capability at many levels at scale. So today we'd like to announce that we're making a step in the right direction to fill that demand and also to provide some more confidence to the industry. So our new venture as part of Hepburn is South Fibre. And so we're a processor and supplier of industrial hemp production inputs. So we're setting up, offering a scaled production capability. We want to offer reliability in supply chains to people who need that level of reliability. And we will work in the business-to-business space. If we talk about what we're going to produce, particularly today, bast fibre, we're obviously working on identifying objective standards, but the key things are that it's clean, it's consistent, it's herd-free, it's properly retted. But most importantly, we as a manufacturer need to develop that fibre and produce it in accordance with our customers' requirements. And that's Lyndon Goodson actually is big on that, because in the development of all the paints and polymers and nanotechnologies that they had, him and his partners years ago, they gave up on trying to invent products that the market wanted. They turned around and said, I'll tell you what, we're going to shut up, we're going to listen, and we'll actually make what you want us to make. So that's the philosophy we've adopted here in our approach. Likewise then, herd lines, so various grades, various qualities, but there'll be a builder grade or a general purpose, a builder grade select, so we're pretty much following the timber industry, how they would describe various grades of timber. Obviously animal bedding grades, and what we call micronisation ready, so stuff that's clean enough, small enough to the size that you want, and so it'll actually micronise ready for bioplastics and fillers. And there again, sizing and grading to match customers' requirements. I think John's going to jump up now and have a few words.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, Peter just touched on, customers' requirements, and, what we grow is going to be driven by what the customer needs. And not only that, we also have to balance that with, the needs of growers. We want growers to grow, because without the growers, we don't have a sustainable supply. And obviously, we want it to be able to process and to get good yields, to run an efficient process. So all these things come together. And I thought today, rather than hear Peter and I talk a whole lot, we might show you a couple of pictures, and then I'll show you. This is an example of this is an MS77 fibre crop grown in Illawarra this season, or it was harvested late March, early April this season. I think I've got a picture of the finished, that same paddock with the finished bales lying there. And I'm just going to show you a short video that's going to take you through a look at the crop, a look at us cutting, a look at the retting process and rotary baling and raking, rotary raking. So we're just going to take you through a quick video to give you a look at sort of what we did with our 2023 harvest. So thank you, Liz. Yeah. So here we are, some cutting of the crop. You saw the pivot was about 30 hectare pivot there. A rotary raking. The crop was knocked down and redded in the field for 2 to 3 weeks. And then ultimately baling it into round bales. These bales are about 300 kilos a piece. The one comment that we got from the farmers was the baling process was very much like normal with other crops. So they were very pleased with that. We were baling about 50 bales an hour. There's a lot of bales though.
So were you using a silage kit to get it really tight, or just a standard?
I'm not 100% sure, Rob. I think it's just the standard setting. But I guess in some ways the growers were quite relieved with how that baling process worked. And you know, it's kind of very standard. That's what they told me. Very standard. Everything worked like it would normally with other crops. So we were really pleased. We just didn't really want to have some of these growers were doing this for the first time, and it was pleasing that they didn't have any problems with that. So.
Sorry, how many hectares of tonnage was that? Just that?
Oh, that pivot was about 30 odd hectares. So, and that particular pivot, it was about 10.5 tonne a hectare. That was right.
Thank you. The breeding process, were you able to do it naturally, or did you have to run the pivot over?
Sorry, Pete. So yes, naturally, we were fortunate with weather and a few things. Very little raking during that time. We turned it once or twice. So yes, it went quite well. It was for a 2 to 3 week period.
Thanks. Yep, so I think, just to go back on what John said too, so it went through the baler really well because you see it was cut into lengths that length exceed a metre, and it was really well redded, so and quite friable. So it was a very good product. So for us and our team, our 23-24 season, we're looking to process around 5,500 tonnes of biomass, and we will continue with some of our partnerships and partner farmers, growers that we've got in Victoria. Obviously, we've established some good friends in South Australia, and we'll be talking to some other people on the East Coast as well. And that's us. So if we talk about where we're going next, just screen up there. So this is roughly where we're at just for the next short period. So by the end of this year, we'll commission our first line in our pilot facility. And by the end of next year, then we'll look at. We've obviously got our biomass agreements going out shortly. Our second line around the end of 24, and then we've got our eyes on a second facility, depending on how fuel prices are going for the fourth quarter of 24. And so this is our production capacity going forward. So we talk about 23-24, we'll have processed around 3,200 tonnes of gross biomass, and as our breakout there, we end up with 640 tonnes of bast, all grades of herd combined, a bit under 2 tonnes, and then other products such as dust, etc., 310. And the following year then, we'll put around 5,500 through, 1,100 of bast, 3,300 of herd, and then other products. So it's at South Fibre, obviously it's a team effort. So look, we've got our ear to what customers want. We're offering processing capabilities, so we're bringing growers together with end users together, and working with the people in this room to develop an industry. So our message is, our request is, well, we're part of the industry. We're all working together. So please let us know how we can support you. We're going to have processing capacity. We've done a lot. Like you people, we've done a lot of work over the last few years, put a lot of time into developing our work and our process. So if we can help in any way, we'd like to hear from you.